Hello, this is Emily Bunch, and today I'm going to be measuring my knitted hoodie. This is a used one that I've used several times, so just to let you know, it has been well loved and cared for. Anyway, at this point, I'm going to start at measuring the neck seam. So I'm going to take my ruler over here, and that's about, oops, wrong way, and that's about 9 inches across. And since I have my ruler at this point, I'm gonna try to measure it just a little bit above and measure my front neck drop. It's kind of a little hard to see because of the ballistic tape right there. When I measured it the last time, it was 0.625 inches, but maybe it's because this isn't flat enough. Anyway, it says it's about 1/8 of an inch, but I don't think that's actually right. But the front neck drop is from this distance to this distance, it's about 1 inch and 1/8. So what I like to do is just start my high point shoulder measurement from this point here to about down here, and that's about 23 inches. Now, as I completely forgot to get the pins for the hip measurements, waist measurements, which is, I measured it down to 13 inches, and since I already have the ruler here, I usually pin it right here. So I will go across, measure my waist, and it says about 17¼ inch. And since I'm already here, might as well measure the bust 1 inch under the armhole. And then measure it across. I like to put 2 pins on here just because it helps me to measure it completely across. But anyway, it says it's 17½ inches. And over here, I do have the pocket placement. I'm gonna measure that quickly since it's at the front of the garment. I don't have to turn it around. I measured it from here to here on here, and it says it's about 17¾ of an inch, since this is the tallest part and this does open to here. I did across was here. I measured from here to here, from across. That was 16¾ of an inch. So at this point, I know that I have to measure the sweep, so I'm going to go down here. It's kind of a little bit difficult. It's a bit curved today because it's been well used and loved, like I said before. And this is 18¾ of an inch. So let's see what else I'm missing. So across front shoulder, since I am at the front of this, I'm gonna go 5 inches down from high point shoulder. And then I'm gonna, that doesn't look right. Usually measure it on the left side, so that's why it feels weird. From here, I'm gonna measure across to about 13¾ of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. So anyway, so I'm gonna go toward the back now after I take out this pin so I don't stab myself. So sorry. It's okay. And so, since I really don't want the garment to be off the table, I'm gonna fold the sleeve here and kind of get to one, lay completely flat on one side as much as I possibly can. And since there is a center back seam on this hood, I'm going to use that to my advantage. I just put the ruler to that measurement. And I do apologize, my ruler is tangled at this point. I do not know why there's a knot in my ruler, but there is. So regardless, I'm going to kind of measure it right on the ruler to kind of allow that to be kind of flat. As you can see, it's not really going along the seam line, but staying completely flat. And as I lay this shoulder sleeve, I'm going to kind of like turn the ruler to kind of allow that to match to that armhole. I'm going to slide it a little bit more because the sleeve is going off the table. So, but anyway, I'm going to kind of allow the ruler to curve around this shoulder seam corner and go all the way down toward the edge. So I have 29.5 inches there. So obviously with the details, it doesn't really say on the spec sheets, but I know that I will have to measure this, and measure this for the detail page. And after I'm done with measuring this, I'll probably, like as a spec sheet, since I won't be showing you that, but if it was for the sketch page, I'll measure this and measure that on its own page. But for the duration of this video, I'll show you how to measure the hood. So anyway, I'm gonna lay this as flat as I possibly can. And it was kind of confusing in the instructions how to measure the height of it, but I do know how to measure the width of it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go about 3 inches down, since this looks like the widest point of the hood. I'm going to add a little bit of a pin there, and go across to about 9¼ of an inch. So obviously for the spec page, I'll have to measure this. I'm a little bit confused about measuring this, but obviously with time, I feel like I'll be able to tell what to measure and not to measure. But anyway, but the height of it, I'm gonna go ahead and do like half of the measurements. So like maybe about 3.5 inches on the top. I'm gonna write a little teeny tiny pin in there. And then from there, I'm gonna measure down to about 13¼ inch. All right, so this will be the presentation of my hoodie tech image and video.